Hello friends, welcome back for another video. This is my first video postpartum. We are now 5 days out from the birth. I had sweet little Jessa on November 4th. So we are going to be sharing her birth story today. If you're new around here, my name is Sandy-Kaye and I do motherhood content as I'm now figuring it out with my 3 kids. Almost 3 under 3. My son just turned 3 on November 3rd, so they are almost birthday buddies. A little bit of backstory: before November 4th, on November 1st was the first time I had some labor signs where I had contractions from like noon to 1, and then I took a bath and they fizzled out. And I knew, okay, so those are likely not real contractions. They were just practice ones, as they will keep on going when you take a bath or a shower or move up, like change your position. Then if it's real labor, then it will just keep coming. So I knew, okay, that's not quite it. And that day I had lost a little bit of mucus plug and had some red tinged blood mixed into it, which is the sign that your cervix is dilating. So I knew something was happening. My body was preparing more. As the days ticked on, I just kept on wanting. It's like every day I was trying all the labor inducing things for like the whole week leading up to her birthday. I was doing sex and curb walking and regular walking and running and squatting and doing meditations, trying to get my head right, labor-inducing meditations and labor-inducing yoga and different workouts and dates and red raspberry leaf tea. Just seriously doing everything I could. Some foot zoning where they do like the acupressure, different points on your feet, just all the stuff, and even tried relaxing, having my husband take the kids away and me just taking a bath and reading and bouncing on a ball. I bounced on a ball a whole lot, doing the hip circles, doing all the things. And needless to say, none of it worked, but I'm sure it did something to help prepare my body to be more prepared for labor. So I don't think it did nothing, but it didn't get the end result I was looking for, which was to have the baby sooner. I just was ready to be back home and with my new little baby in my own space, and I felt like every day I had finished all my projects at home. So now it was just, I was waiting on baby. I didn't have much to do. I cleaned my mother-in-law's blinds and windowsills for a little bit, but then beyond that, it's just like, take the kids to the park. Okay, now what do I do with my day? Okay, team, get baby out then. So I would just do all the labor-inducing things. I also did do nipple stimulation and the breast pump as well. I didn't mention that. So anyway, what ended up happening is my last labor-inducing option, in my mind, the last one that I'll try, is castor oil. I had tried it with my first and it hadn't done anything, but it's supposed to be more effective with subsequent pregnancies. And now with it being my third, I thought, okay, this likely will happen for me if I try it. If you don't know, castor oil is a laxative. So let me paint the story here. November 4th is the day I had her, and the morning of November 4th, I went for a 1 mile jog, and I just kind of planned it out as if this was the day I was gonna have her. So I was like, okay, I wanna go on a run the last day, my last run with this baby in my belly. And then I had castor oil when I got home on an empty stomach, made the midwife's brew. It made a whole mason jar of that stuff. And it wasn't too horrible tasting, honestly. Wasn't too bad, and I really didn't have any nausea or anything from it. So I took that at like 8:20 a.m. And then it didn't do much. Like maybe 4 hours later is when I started having some diarrhea and the side effects or whatever. Let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, some diarrhea and stuff like 4 hours later. And then 4 or 5 hours later, I started to have some mild cramping, and I thought, okay, didn't think much of it. I didn't want to get my hopes up, honestly, but I just noticed kind of the twingy feeling like when you're on your period, those cramps, menstrual cramps. So I just kind of noted them, but they were honestly not painful. And in the very beginning, it was more just like I noticed my tummy tightening and I could feel it just like wrap around the baby like a tight ball. So I went on a nice stroller walk with my daughter, who is almost 1.5. Then I went on a stroller walk just with my son, who is 3, and I just enjoyed time one-on-one with each of them. And I took 2 naps that day. I made sure I was very hydrated, and I also made sure I was eating often. So it was honestly like just a pretty good chill day, and this was kind of my early labor now looking back, but I don't really count it because it was so chill. And so anyway, my husband took the kids to dinner at some family's house, and I was able to sleep from 7 to 8 p.m. And then when they got home, I took or maybe before they left, I'd taken a bath with my daughter Jordy Ray, and just like had it such a fun time. Just, she was giggling and we were just playing together, taking a bath. And at that point, like that was at 5 p.m. I was like ready for some relief to get in the bath, even though it was just cramping. You know, your body is still working, your muscles are still contracting, even if it's little contractions or little tightenings. Hey people, I'm just getting ready to do my hair because I just took a bath. I have been having some surges from 1 to like now 6. Have been pretty mild. I just got out of the bath with my daughter to see if they'd kind of stop, but they haven't really. So I'm going to time them while I do my hair, and I had some more Bloody Show and mucus plug. So we'll see if the castor oil worked, and tonight is the night. So anyway, then once they came back from dinner with family, my husband was sweet and brought me back a nice big plate of some yummy curry and these wontons. And so I had a big plate of food, and then I put my kids to bed. And it was at that point at 9 p.m. when I had just put the kids down to sleep and I lay in bed that the contractions start ramping up. Before they were like a 2 or 3 out of 10 on an intensity scale. And then they went up to like a 6, sometimes a 7 of intensity scale, like as soon as I put my kids to bed. And I had heard this happening before, because it's like your body's finally like, okay, my kids are taken care of, now I can go into labor. But I didn't really think it would be me and it would happen. So, you know, that's how it started. And then they were coming every like 2.5 minutes, lasting about a minute, and I really had to breathe through them, and it was hard to stay lying down, because I didn't mention, but with the earlier ones that I was able to nap through, I had a heating pad. And if you've heard of the Bradley method, they have a certain position to kind of align your body. I do it a little different, but very similar to that, and it's supposed to just help labor keep on going, but help keep you as relaxed as you can. So I was able to sleep and relax through the beginning ones, but these ones were super hard to relax through. So I was breathing pretty heavy, and I just laid down for about 30 minutes so I could time them on I use the little Freya app, and she'll kind of like talk you through it, which I like listening to that. And then I told my husband, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to sleep through these. These are getting intense. So he got up and showered, and that was around 9:30 we got out of bed. And then by 10:11 we were heading over to my midwife's house. And when I got into the car, I kind of knew, I was like, I'm probably like a 5 or 6 centimeters. I've done this 2 other times, so I can kind of know what transition feels like for me, which is usually more of a shaky feeling. And I just wasn't there yet. So it's like, hey, 5 or 6 centimeters, let my midwife know that we were heading over. And so I remember her saying in the past, if you lean back in your chair while you're driving, then it will put more pressure of the baby's head on the cervix and help you dilate faster. So I was worried, thinking through my head, like, oh, I'm gonna waste my midwife's night if I get there way too early. But in my past labors and deliveries, I've been like 8 centimeters when I was at the hospital with my son, and then at 9 centimeters when I went to my midwife's house on the last go. So I was like, okay, I want to be not that far. I want to give myself some more time, but I don't want to be like totally in early labor. So I was in established labor at this point. Anyways, at 10:10 p.m. we're heading to my midwife's house. It is 45 minutes away, and 28 minutes into the drive, I just feel like a big punch or a karate chop down lower, and my water pops. Water bag broke, however you want to say it. So it starts leaking out, and thankfully I had a Chuck's pad and a towel down on my seat just in case that were to happen. And that's kind of when things started getting more intense. The contractions, I had to be more vocal and kind of like moan through, do the horse lips, like just trying to do all the things and really breathe through them. Started having my husband do some counter pressure on my lower back. I kind of do it for myself with my knuckles, just like kind of ram them into those 2 lower spots on your back, which really helped. And then turned towards my husband and had him do it a little bit. But like 10 minutes after my water broke, I start feeling the pressure of the head just right there. And I'm like, oh boy, I know this feeling. I know I'm starting to get pushy. The noises I'm making are sounding more pushy. I'm letting my midwife know throughout all this when my water broke and when I started feeling the head. And she She told me earlier on the drive that she'll have the tub ready, and I was like, perfect, that's what I will likely want to use right when I get there. We're 5 minutes out from my midwife's house, and I am just feeling the head just right there, and I had like 3 more contractions until we got to her house, and I was just blowing out the candles, trying to pant to not push this baby out. We arrive at my midwife's house at 10:57, and I have her at 10:59. So it was really quick. My husband comes around to my side of the car, and I'm just having an arm around him. I'm barefoot at this point. I had my shoes off, and I'm just waddling into the house. Within that minute, my midwife says it might be easiest to go on the bed to have her, and I said, nope, I want the tub. I go straight into the tub. I take off my shorts and my phone out of my pocket. I hop on all fours in that tub, and then I feel down, and I can feel like a $1,000 worth of head just like right there. I'm like, okay, she's coming. And then just like the next contraction, I don't even know if I waited for a contraction, I push her head out, and then her body comes soon after, and then she's handed right up onto my belly, and it was just the craziest thing. Is it seriously like a dream? I'm just like, oh my gosh, like freaking out. Like, did that really just happen? It felt like literally I was looking in at someone else's birth. This isn't my baby. Like, this happened so fast. And I told my midwife, like, that was pretty much a painless birth. It was just so quick and a fun, easy lead up. I got to do all the things I wanted that day. Such a beautiful, positive experience. As I'm holding the baby, I then scan the room, and I'm like, where's my husband? He had gone to go get our birth bags out of the car, not thinking that it would have happened that fast. So he came into the room to see a baby on my chest. And I so wish I had the forethought to turn on my video for when I was in the car, and then took it in, and that I took it in with me into my midwife's house, but I just didn't do that. So I do not have any video of this birth, which kind of makes me sad, but it was fast. It was like from 9 to 11, 2 hours from like the first intense contraction to when I was holding her in my arms. So it was definitely a precipitous birth of our little Jessa girl. And then 8 minutes later, I pushed out the placenta, and it just feels like a little squid leaving your body. It's so weird. It feels like so easy. I didn't have any tearing. It was just the most beautiful thing. I couldn't fall asleep till like 3 a.m. that night because I was just so wired, but she's just so little and perfect. We love her so much. So here is our little Jessa Lynn. And she is a little sweetie. We are just loving on her. She's now 5 days old, and we could not feel more blessed to have her join our family. And thanks for hearing this birth story. If you have any other questions, just put them down in the comments. And I'm praying for all those other moms that are not on the other side yet, that are still pregnant and getting ready to deliver their beautiful babies, that everything goes smooth for you, and that you just have a lovely experience, because mine really was all that I was hoping for. Such a joyful, easy, quick delivery. Such a beautiful day, and it still feels unreal while I'm telling it. So feeling so blessed and thankful for that, and I hope all of you guys will take care, and I'll catch you in the next video.